Okay, welcome back to the Quiet Signal. I am the signal master, the signal sayer, the signal orchestrator. We're talking about A Nightmare in Venice. This film is cracked, low budget, a prototype of Eyes Wide Shut, and cracks reveal exactly why ambiguity is the real engine of elite power stories. If you stick with this episode, you maybe don't understand how ambiguity is weaponized now. Maybe you misread everything from secret society narratives to real world influences, but what's hidden isn't always the act, often it's the uncertainty that keeps you compliant. Stay with me in this video, and by the end you'll be able to tell the difference between a story that's about masks and a story that uses masks to show how social control actually works and why most people miss it. Let's cut through the noise and listen to the quiet signal. We're going to take a look at A Nightmare in Venice as a valuable, not because it's a great film, but because it shows what happens when you adapt Schnitzler's dream story and you remove the uncertainty. You don't just change the tone, you change the meaning. The film becomes a moral, literal, erotic thriller, and that exposes the difference between mystery that controls you and criminality you can name. Arthur Schnitzler wrote Traumnovelle, a dream story, in the 1920s. A bourgeoisie couple, a confession that destabilizes the marriage, a husband's nocturnal spiral into temptation, humiliation, and an encounter with a masked ritual space he doesn't belong in. Kubrick later adapts that into Eyes Wide Shut, making the masked sequence feel like you briefly stumbled into a world that's not meant to be legible. The 1989 Italian film, often circulated as Nightmare in Venice, takes the same conceptual spine but drops it into Venetian carnival, where masks aren't a metaphor. They're the city's identity. Why Venice matters? Venice is the perfect cheat code. It gives you instant atmosphere, labyrinth streets, night canals, masks, so even a low-budget production can feel mythic. But that also tempts the filmmaker into leaning on scenery instead of psychology, and that is the central tension here. So let's take a look. The primary title in Italian, so forgive me, Ad un passo dall'aurora. Common English, or the alternate title, is A Nightmare in Venice. Director Mario Bianchi. It's all in Italian. Italians are, I think I've enjoyed French movies and Italian movies the most when it comes to stuff that's not in English. I know that there was a really big Korean movie push in the last decade or so, but that never took for me. The places to look for movies, I think, are Italian and French. Italian movies, I feel, always have a clear. They're very in your face and obvious, and the subtext or the things that you take away or apply onto them are your own, I guess. It's like it gives you a very straightforward storytelling, and then but there's still enough meat there to dissect and interpret from the main plot structure. The plot structure is just straightforward and obvious. It's not really hiding anything, or there's no subtext that's required to be looked at, but you're able to still dissect the film in terms of meaning, allegorical meaning and stuff as well. So I've always kind of appreciated that. I hope that makes sense. I've probably seen 5 Italian movies in my whole life, so I don't know if that really applies or not. There's a great biopic about a man that creates a micronation. And there were 2 other ones I was thinking of too while saying this. Whatever. The labeling of the genre is it can vary, but it's usually listed as erotic, erotica, or thriller depending on where it's listed. There is some runtime disparity apparently. I watched the 91-minute version, but I guess there's an 85-minute version as well, just with different cuts, like a TV edit and export version. The core hook is during the Venice Carnival, a successful surgeon who's disaffected and restless slides into increasingly transgressive sex and violence. He gets entangled with a prostitute and her associate and is drawn toward a mysterious masked gathering. The story is a reconstructed narrative from Schnitzler's dream story. We follow our protagonist, Ricardo, and he's a successful cardiac surgeon. He feels deep dissatisfaction, excuse me, and is seeking stronger sensations, specifically through sex and violence. He becomes involved with Lou, who is a prostitute, and Alessandro, who is connected to her. No. Possibly, maybe. He ends up being drawn into a masked gathering or party during the carnival. I guess not during the carnival. It's at the night after the carnival. The carnival takes place over many days, I guess. So one of the nights of the carnival. And this mass organization aspect is very explicitly criminal. Ricardo is established as professionally successful and socially placed, yet privately he's consumed by dissatisfaction and agitation. All this is going on during Venice's carnival atmosphere. Ricardo is introduced by listening to his daughter read to Ricardo and his wife a fairy tale. But before the daughter is able to finish the story and discover why the prince is sad, it is time for her to go to bed. So the daughter is put to bed. They have a live-in nanny or live-in nanny or something who takes the child away and puts her to bed. Ricardo and his wife reminisce on the night that they first meet. Ricardo is then hit with a phone call with the announcement that a client of his has died. He is then called to go, confirm the death, which he does. He leaves and goes, and the daughter or mistress or a young woman related to this client retells and recounts the story of his, what happened to him dying, and comes on to Ricardo, or they come on to each other, very explicitly, grabbing each other, which is put to a stop by both of them, or it seems mutual that they are both attracted and reluctant to actually engage. Ricardo then leaves, later stumbling onto Lou, who is performing. She's a prostitute and she's performing for some sort of voyeur activity. A masked voyeur is watching her as she performs for him. Very much like lying down in a bed and engaging in herself as the masked man watches. The masked man is not pleased with her performance and leaves. Lou chases after this masked man, who then assaults her, and this is what Ricardo walks in on, seeing and this masked man is able to slip away and leave, but and Ricardo rushes to aid Lou after being attacked, asking if there's anything that he can do. She says no, there's nothing, but you can you can escort me home. I need someone to talk to, I believe she says. He brings Lou home, enters her house, her home, her apartment, or whatever. They begin engaging with each other, and are interrupted by Lou's roommate, who is a cross-dresser, a man dressed as a woman, who interrupts them and makes them have to end their affair. Ricardo asks, when can I see you again? They don't know, but he has to leave, and so he leaves. He enters a bar, a place of drinking, and has a beer, and notices that the live musician playing the piano is a friend of his who he hasn't seen for 20 years. This, I believe, is Alessandro. Alessandro informs him that he has to leave. They interact. I think Alessandro says that he has an ex-wife, maybe he has kids or something, but like they exchange how they're doing. He's like, "Oh, you must be like a big successful doctor now." To Ricardo, like Alessandro says this to Ricardo, and Alessandro informs him now that he has to leave because he has a private party to go to, and Ricardo convinces him to let him follow him to go to the party. It takes some convincing, but Ricardo is successful and able to get Alessandro to allow him to go, but he informs him that he must go get a costume in order to be able to attend. He has to be in disguise. He has to be wearing his dark Venetian carnival outfit. He goes to the costume shop, informs the owner that Alessandro had sent him and that he needs a costume urgently for a masked ball. He then peruses the costume shop's wares and trips over a woman or girl. It seems like a woman, who then very much comes onto him, making like noise, offering herself, saying that she loves Ricardo. Presents herself, and then another man enters. A third man, so not the costume owner, but some random guy comes in looking for this woman. The costume owner is also looking for the woman as well. So these two men are looking for the woman who's engaged, who's coming on to Ricardo. When discovered, this woman begs Ricardo to save her, as the man that she was engaged with is cruel. Like she says to the costume owner, "I did everything that you said, but he's mean. Like he's violent. He's harsh." So this woman is being pimped out by the costume owner. The costume store owner is pimping out this woman to this man, but the man is cruel, so that's why she escaped, and that's why she trips over Ricardo. The costume man says, "Never mind all of this, and just take your costume and leave," which Ricardo does. We then see the scene of the masked men going on parade to their secret party. They enter a boat. They're all wearing, I believe it's the burrata mask, but the pointy head like human mask. They're all black, wearing trifold like hats. Some people are wearing hoods, like they're in the KKK, but everything's black, not, you know what I mean? And they're all holding torches, and they get on a boat, and Alessandro is there as well. Before getting on the boat, though, I think Alessandro is able to relay with Ricardo, providing him with the passport. The password is "one step away from dawn." Again, all this is in Italian. They all arrive at the party. They all get on. They all get onto the boat, including Ricardo, disguised properly and hidden along with the group, in league with Alessandro. Right. Ricardo is sneaking into the party. They arrive. They enter a mansion. They're in a room. There's a piano at the front of the room with a mirror facing them, and they all kind of stand in assembly. Enters a bearded man in a white cloak with hood and the same beaked human Venetian mask, and again I believe it is referred to as the burrata Venetian mask, but it's one of the classic Venetian masks. It's very apparent. That beak is there so that you can eat and actually so that you can be kind of functional while wearing the mask. But his is gold. He is the clear leader, as he is adorned in white and has a gold version of the mask, as opposed to everyone else wearing black hoods and black masks and black cloaks. He addresses the party. Literally just walks up and says, "Now let the party begin," I think. There's no real ceremony or anything exciting. He just comes in and says, let's party. Now, there's been nudity with, like, the prostitute and the woman in the costume shop. You see their chests exposed. But at this evil satanic ritual party, when they say let's party, they literally just start dancing. Like, they're fully clothed and they just dance together, and that's all it is. Which was very funny to me. Is like the movie is explicit. There's candlelight around the piano and stuff, and they're all just dancing. A woman starts dancing with Ricardo, informing him that his life is in danger. He's like, "What do you mean? Let me see your face." "No, you can't." Ricardo is then taken into a back room, and the white cloaked, gold masked guy confronts him as he's being held by two goons. Alessandro is taken. Excuse me. Alessandro is figured out, and they ask, "Who is this stranger that arrived with you?" And they threaten his life, and, like, basically with just one threat, he's like, "Yeah, I'll tell you who it is. It's Ricardo, a surgeon." And they're like, "Okay, bet." And they take Alessandro away. Ricardo is still dancing with this woman who's telling him that they need to leave. He has to see her face. She says no. Ricardo is then tapped in by another woman who says, "Can I, have this guy to dance with?" So she takes over and she starts dancing with him, and then brings Ricardo away, where they start to engage with each other, making out. And literally, it's the most sanitized version. It's like you've seen all these naked people before, and then literally, like, all you see is this woman's thigh while they start engaging with each other in the, like, what should be the Eyes Wide Shut equivalent, like, orgy scene. You know what I mean? Like, it's just very strange that, like, the evil part is not naked, I guess, is what I'm confused by. But she's lured him away while they're making out. The leader, the white cloak, approaches, requesting the password from Ricardo. Ricardo provides it one step away from Dawn. And he's like, and that's for the entrance and the password for the house. And Ricardo responds, I don't remember it. White cloak responds, "A pity. It does not matter if you never knew it. Not remembering it is like never having known it. You were an intruder. How did you get onto the boat? How did you get here?" And the guy's Ricardo's like, "Coincidence." And they respond, "A coincidence can turn a man's life upside down. Take off your hood." Ricardo says, "No, I won't take off my hood." The leader says, "I suggest you obey my orders." Ricardo says, "I suggest you have no right, especially as I've figured out who you are and that you're not normal people." He says, "Well," like, and the guy's like, "Yeah, obviously we're not normal people. Like, what the heck? You have to take off your hood." Ricardo's like, "No, I'll just leave now if that's okay." He's like, "That's not allowed. Sorry. Like, that's too easy. It's not allowed." "Take off your hood." He takes off his hood. Ricardo is exposed. He's like, like, White Cloak threatens, "I could kill you." "But what's the point in that? A corpse is useless." And he said, "What we're going to do is you're going to receive a task from me. And if you don't do this task, you or someone in your family will die. So you should take my advice." And Ricardo is ushered away by goons, kicking and screaming. He packs up his costume and he heads back home. He sees his wife, wakes her up, and tells her that he loves her, and just stares at the phone until it rings. He's informed that the phone will ring at dawn and he has to pick up and answer. And he says that midday today you'll operate on a 30-year-old woman, and you need to inject her with a vial that will be provided to you. This Ricardo is a surgeon. He's there, and he has to do a transfusion of blood, and he injects his vial that he's provided with into this woman during his surgery on her. And he kind of freaks out about it. And he's wandering around Venice while the carnival is going on, and all of the masked people are kind of freaking him out because he's paranoid. He takes a boat ride back to the mansion of the party to inform that he has been successful in doing his task of injecting this woman with those vials. He's asked if he carried out the orders. He tells them yes. He's asked, "Do you know what you injected that woman with?" He says no. He says HTLV3. the AIDS virus. So he gave this woman AIDS. And he's like, why? Why did I have to give this woman AIDS? And he's like, well, that woman was a prostitute, and she's the mistress, or I don't know if she's a prostitute. I think she is. But she's engaged with a man of prominence, a political figure. To most people, yeah, the woman is a normal woman, but in actuality, she's a drug-addicted whore who's the mistress of a important political figure. Ricardo asks, why not go straight to that political figure? Like, you're powerful enough to just kill him. The White Cloak responds, we don't want martyrs. Our aim is to destroy that man's public image, this political figure's public image. So giving him AIDS is like a good, like this guy dying from AIDS or it being revealed that he has some sort of public sickness is politically advantageous for whatever this secret cults group wants to do. When the virus infects him, and I assure you it will within 30 days, you can guess the public's reaction, right? This guy's a fag, so we don't like him anymore. And then he asks him again, asking Ricardo, did you carry out these orders? Ricardo says yes. He says, very good, there won't be any problems then. As a doctor, you're dependable. That's very, like, it's very good. You're useful to us. But then he reveals Alessandro, like, hogtied. And Ricardo is furious at this, like, ready to fight. But he's informed that it's not even worth it, and that Alessandro didn't even hesitate to betray Ricardo. He then kind of presents a game to Ricardo of a test to ensure that he is not lying about performing his operation, performing his task. The White Cloak doesn't believe, isn't certain apparently that Ricardo actually fulfilled his task. So he brings out Lou, the prostitute, and he brings out, somehow he's able to obtain a vial of blood from the woman that he injected. Oh, Ricardo saves the blood for himself so that he can test it, presumably. And they take it from his bag, and that's how they are able to get the blood from this woman. So Ricardo saves the blood because he's like, what the fuck did I just do? I want to go find out. So he saves the blood so that he can, like, test it, presumably later. White Cloak finds that in his bag, retrieves it, and now this woman, Lou, is masked. He doesn't know it's Lou yet, but he presents it to her and threatens to inject Lou with the blood that was in Ricardo's bag, of course, full of AIDS as he fulfilled his task. And he actually does it. He injects Lou with the blood and then knocks Ricardo out. Ricardo goes to a newspaper stand after awaking. And discovers a young woman has committed suicide by drinking bleach. It's like the next day that he's awoken, right? And it's Lou. So he goes back to... I guess he doesn't know that Lou is the woman that was injected. He sees a tattoo of a severed head snake on her arm. That's like the injection site, is this snake tattoo. And all the while she's masked. But he discovers, a news article stating that Lou has committed suicide by drinking bleach, so he rushes over to her apartment. He runs into the drag queen roommate, who confirms that she killed herself. He then goes to the morgue. Oh, it's up in the air of whether or not she died. She drank the bleach and is hospitalized, and that's what's in the newspaper, I guess. Kind of a strange story, but it's Italy, so I don't know what they report over there. Not very good HIPAA rules, it seems. But he rushes over to the hospital to go check on Lou to see if she's actually dead or not, if she's survived her bleach drinking suicide attempt. And rushes over there and asks if she made it, and is informed that she is not. So he goes to the morgue and looks at the body and discovers the snake tattoo. So obviously Lou is the one that was injected with the AIDS blood and has killed herself because of that. This sends Ricardo into a panic attack where he then rushes to go freak out, and then rushes home, where he finds his wife asleep and his costume from the inverted satanic cult party. He finds his costume on the bed, lying next to his sleeping wife, and he cries. And she informs him that she found it this morning. And he's like, "I'll tell you everything." And she's like, "No, you don't even need to." And she's like, "No, I want you to tell me everything." And she has kind of this sly smile while consoling him as he tells her everything. Maybe there's some implication that she is also a part of this group or something as well. I mean, but who knows? And they kind of have this discussion of like, not all things need to be true in order to be real. Like, we can just kind of act like everything's fine. And he's like, we just have to keep on going. And then they're greeted by their daughter, who's excited, and they're all happy, and they're hugging. And they have breakfast. And the daughter reads, "For many days, the noble prince headed towards Nowhere Island, in the middle of nowhere." And she's like, "But you've read that part before." And she's like, "Yes, it's true. And now I also know why the prince was so sad that night," the daughter says. And she's like, "Well," and then the daughter's like, "I don't remember anymore." And they all laugh. And then the mother tells the daughter to start reading from the beginning again. And the beginning goes, 12 men hidden in the dark cloaks waited in silence for his arrival. That's part of like the fairy tale book. And she reads this as Ricardo looks at the telephone, waiting for his next task to be given to him, knowing that, you know, that phone will ring again one day. And then we close on this like purple Venetian costumed person for some reason, some random reason. So that's the plot. And if you look online, you'll find that there's no plot synopsis. So I'm the only one that you can ever get a plot summary about this story. And so far I've been recording for 40 minutes. Maybe that's not how long you've been listening or whatever, but this movie is, 90 minutes long, and I watched it on 2x speed. So it has taken me as long as the movie to explain the movie. So great. But obviously I'll edit this down, so it will still be worth your time, hopefully. Actually, regardless, it will be worth your time because I'm analyzing stuff here that's important or something. People hate this movie. It's got like 2.1 stars out of 5. It's a 2-star out of 5 stars. Some listings are as low as like 1 star, I guess. Schnitzler's Traumnovelle takes place in Mardi Gras, in Vienna for Mardi Gras, where this film foregrounds the Venice Carnival. But Schnitzler, in 1926, with Traumnovelle, then Mario Bianchi in 1989 with The Nightmare in Venice, and then Kubrick in 1999 with Eyes Wide Shut. In Schnitzler and Kubrick, the mass ritual is terrifying because it feels structural, like you saw the backstage of society. But in this one, the organization feels more just like a conventional crime menace than an uncanny, like, social order. Like, they're just an underground, like, crime syndicate, almost, doing, like, blackmail. Like, they're mob bosses, basically. The Venetian carnival setting is pretty good. In normal life, you maintain a stable identity. Like you fulfill your archetype, but in the carnival, the Venetian carnival is all about, breaking that and allowing you to have anonymity, role-playing, engage in your, carnal appetites. The masked scene is much different than other, tellings of the story, right? It's very strange because it's like The ritual isn't explicit in the way that the other ones are. The whole film is a cracked prototype of Eyes Wide Shut, and the cracks reveal the mechanism, which is ambiguity. It keeps outsiders guessing, prevents proof, makes you self-censor, turns fear into compliance. So if you watch Nightmare in Venice as a flawed artifact, you can actually learn something cleaner than the film itself. What Kubrick protected, what he refused to explain, is the very thing that makes the story about power rather than crime. Masks aren't the point. The point is what masks allow: a world where identity is fluid for insiders and fixed for outsiders, especially the outsider who wanders in thinking he's entitled to look. Cool. Nightmare in Venice. Done.